Welcome to Headstones and Microphones, where we use AI to step into the past through a researched first-person simulation of history's most interesting people. I am your host, Calvin. While we've added some creative storytelling, our goal is to inspire your own study of these fascinating lives. Now, let's meet our guest. I am beyond excited for today's guest. He's the man who put the world on wheels and revolutionized the way we live. Please welcome Henry Ford. Henry, it is an absolute honor to have you here. For those who may somehow not know who you are you?
I'm just a man who had a bit of a knack for machinery. Most people know me as the founder of the Ford Motor Company and the fellow who brought the Model T to the world. I always believe that if you provided a good product at a price people could afford, you could change the world.
You certainly did that. Let's go back to the beginning. When and where were you born?
I was born on July 30th, 1863. It was on my family's farm in Greenfield Township, Michigan. It's part of Dearborn today, but back then it was all rolling fields and hard work.
And what was your given name at birth?
Just Henry Ford. Simple and direct. Just the way I liked things to be.
Growing up on that farm, what was your hometown like?
It was a quiet, rural life. Dearborn was a farming community through and through. You learned the value of a day's labor very early on. There was a lot of peace out there, but I must admit, my mind was usually elsewhere, mostly on how the tools we were using worked.
What was your family life like, and what kind of kid were you?
I had a good family. My father, William, was from Ireland, and my mother, Mary, was the heart of our home. I was a bit of a curious lad, always taking things apart. By the time I was 12, I was spending every spare second in a small machine shop I rigged up for myself. I wasn't much for farm work, to my father's occasional chagrin. I preferred the work of gears and springs.
Did you have any big fears back then?
I wouldn't say I had many fears, but I had a deep restlessness. I was afraid of being stuck in a routine that didn't involve creating something. I didn't want to just follow the plow. I wanted to build the plow.
What did you dream of becoming as a child?
I wanted to be a machinist. From the moment I saw a steam engine moving along a road when I was a boy, I knew I wanted to build machines that could move people. That image stayed with me my whole life.
What were some of your favorite activities in school?
To be honest, I wasn't much for the books. I enjoyed the social aspect, but my schooling really happened in the workshop. I loved figuring out how watches worked. I became known as the neighborhood watch repairman before I was even out of my teens.
That's incredible. What was your first official job?
I left home at 16 to become a machinist's apprentice in Detroit. I worked at the Michigan Car Company, which built railroad cars. It was hard, greasy work, but I loved every minute of it because I was learning the guts of the industry.
Was there a moment where you realized you were different from everyone else?
It was more of a realization that I looked at problems differently. While others saw a carriage and a horse, I saw a mechanical problem waiting for a motor. I didn't see why a horseless carriage had to be a luxury for the rich. I saw it as a necessity for everyone.
What's a decision that changed everything for you, but felt small at the time?
Repairing a small, stationary engine for the Westinghouse Company. It gave me a deep understanding of internal combustion. It seemed like just another job, but it was the spark that eventually led to my first quadricycle.
Speaking of sparks, what was your biggest break?
It had to be the success of the Model T in 1908. We had tried a few models before, but the Tin Lizzie was the one. It was rugged, simple, and it worked. When I saw the first one roll off the line and realized we could actually produce them by the thousands, I knew we'd hit the jackpot.
It wasn't all smooth sailing, though. What were your biggest struggles before success?
Oh, I had plenty. My first two companies actually failed. The Detroit Automobile Company went under because the cars weren't good enough and were too expensive. I had investors breathing down my neck wanting quick profits, but I wanted perfection and efficiency. It was a lonely time trying to convince people that my vision was worth the risk.
Did you ever consider quitting?
Never. Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. That was my motto. Every time a company failed or an engine stalled, I just learned what not to do the next time.
Were there any specific daily habits or routines that you feel were essential to your success?
I was a big believer in staying active and eating simply. I liked to walk through the plants and talk to the men. I also believed in thinking through a problem before ever touching a tool. I'd spend hours just visualizing how an assembly line should flow.
What job would you have had if the whole car thing never happened?
I likely would have stayed in the watchmaking business. I always had a dream of mass producing watches so every person could afford to know the time. It's the same principle as the car, taking a luxury and making it a utility.
What was your life like right before the fame hit?
I was working as an engineer for the Edison Illuminating Company in Detroit. I worked all day for Mr. Edison, who became a dear friend, and worked all night in my shed on my own engines. I didn't sleep much, but I was fueled by excitement.
How did your relationships change after you became a household name?
Success brings a lot of people to your door. I stayed very close to my wife, Clara. She was my believer. But in the business world, I became more guarded. It's hard to know who is a friend and who is just interested in the Ford name.
Did fame bring you happiness?
Happiness came from the work, not the fame. Seeing a farmer be able to get his goods to market faster because of a Model T, that brought me happiness. The fame was just a byproduct that sometimes got in the way.
What was the downside of it?
The loss of privacy. I couldn't just walk down the street in Detroit anymore without a crowd forming. I missed the days of being an anonymous machinist.
What misconceptions did people have about you?
People often thought I was a cold, calculating businessman. While I was firm in my beliefs, I cared deeply about the common man. I raised the minimum wage to $5 a day because I wanted my workers to be able to afford the cars they were building. People thought I was crazy, but I was just being practical.
What was your darkest moment?
Losing my mother when I was only 13. It felt like the lights went out in our home. She was the one who encouraged my curiosity. I spent a lot of my life trying to honor the spirit of the home she built for us.
What's something people misunderstood about your life?
Many people thought I hated progress because I loved the old ways of farming and history. I even built Greenfield Village to preserve it. But I didn't hate progress. I just didn't want us to forget the foundations that built us. You can look forward and backward at the same time.
Tell me about a time when everything went wrong and how you handled it.
During the transition from the Model T to the Model A, we had to shut down production for months to retool the entire factory. The world thought Ford was finished. I stayed calm, focused on the engineering, and we came back stronger than ever. You handle it by keeping your eye on the goal and not the critics.
Who had the biggest influence on your life?
Thomas Edison. He was my mentor and my hero. When I showed him my drawings for a gasoline engine, he banged his fist on the table and told me to keep at it. That validation from the greatest inventor of the age meant everything to me.
When and where did you pass away, and how old were you?
I was at my home in Dearborn, Michigan, when I passed away from a cerebral hemorrhage on April 7th, 1947. I was 83.
Moving to some lighter topics. What's a random fact about you most people have never heard?
I was an avid square dancer. I loved it so much, I even published a book on how to do it and promoted it in schools. I thought it was a great way to build community and keep people moving.
That is fantastic. What about the craziest rumor ever told about you?
Some people claimed I kept a secret lab where I was trying to turn weeds into gold. I was actually experimenting with soybeans to create plastic car parts. It wasn't magic, it was just chemistry.
What was your most unique habit?
I had a habit of eating weeds. Well, I called them roadside greens. I was very interested in nutrition and thought we overlooked many healthy plants growing right in our yards.
And your favorite food?
A good simple dish of warm bread and milk. After a long day, there was nothing better.
Did you have a favorite book?
I enjoyed the McGuffey readers. They were the school books of my youth, and they were full of moral lessons and good, solid language. I actually spent quite a bit of money later in life to preserve and reprint them.
Did you have any known rivalries?
Oh, the Dodge brothers and I had our moments. They were my original suppliers and shareholders, but eventually we went our separate ways and became quite the competitors. Healthy competition makes everyone work harder.
Tell us a story nobody talks about.
Once my car broke down, yes, even a Ford, and the young man stopped to help me. He didn't know who I was. When we got it fixed, I offered him a handsome reward, and he refused it, saying he was just happy to help a fellow traveler. It reminded me that the spirit of kindness is the most important engine in the world.
What's your funniest behind-the-scenes moment?
When I was testing the first quadricycle, I realized I had built it too wide to fit through the door of the shed. I had to take an axe to the brick wall to get my invention out for its first run. My neighbors thought I'd lost my mind.
What was the most outlandish purchase you made?
I bought a whole railroad, the Detroit, Toledo, and Ironton. I didn't like how they were being run, so I bought it to show them how to do it efficiently.
Henry, this has been incredible. What advice would you give people chasing success today?
Quality means doing it right when no one is looking. Don't chase the money. Chase the service you can provide to others. If you provide something of value, the success will follow you like a shadow.
Before we sign off, do you have any closing remarks about our chat or your stories that you'd like to share with the listeners?
Just that it's been a delight to reminisce. Life is a series of experiences, each one making us bigger, even though sometimes it's hard to realize that. Keep building, keep curious, and don't be afraid to take an axe to a wall if it's standing in the way of your dreams. Thank you for having me, Calvin.
Thank you, Henry. It was a true pleasure. And that wraps up another conversation from Beyond the Grave. We touched on the birth of the assembly line, square dancing, and even eating roadside greens. What a legend! Thanks for joining us on the Headstones and Microphones podcast. Remember, legends may die, but their stories never do. Please help spread the word by sharing and following the pod.